Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Iron Squid Group A broadcast, and it is my pleasure to introduce our contestants for the next Best of 3 series. I bring you Fnatic's Todd. He is in the blue trunks and he is playing Protoss. To the southeast of this, the Tal'Darim Altar, versus his opponent, Slayer's Boxer. He is in the red trunks and he is playing Terran to the northwest. You know, I don't think I've ever got the chance to actually say that at any point, so I'm relishing it.
I don't think I've ever cast... Oh, I think I did, actually. IPL 3. I was just thinking when I casted...
Yeah, I think you cast him once, didn't you?
Yeah, I casted an IPL 3 game against Stefano, I think. And it wasn't a pretty game. That's for sure. Total Biscuit. Stefano was on fire that tournament.
Oh, man. I'll tell you, if Stefano is involved, then it's never pretty. That's not an insult to his looks. I'm sure that people love him just the way he is.
Indeed, but like you said, Slayer's Boxer, man. This guy was a pro gamer when I was still in nappies. And it's a true fact. This guy's been around for so long. On the other hand, Todd, speaking Korean, as we can see, actually does speak Korean, lived in Korea for his Warcraft 3 days as well for a long time. And has been in the GOM TV house now for a long time also, and is practicing incredibly hard. And this is going to be a good series. They have met one time before in China, surprisingly, in the Star Killers tournament, where Todd did take a 2-0 win in a best of 3 series over there.
Impressive. I love to try and guess what things actually say in Korean, and more to the point, I like to compare the characters to actual physical items. For instance, that first message from Todd there looked like lamp man at desk, which I don't think is the literal translation.
Don't think so. I think it says GG Yo. There you go. I actually do think it says GG Yo, because I lived in Korea too, I could read. So it says GG Yo, which is obviously good game. And Yo is respectful to an emperor, which is true.
Ah, there you go. That's an interesting fact there. So it's not, in fact, ghetto slang there by Todd.
No, it's actually... That's why you see a lot of good luck, have fun, Yo. It's actually... In StarCraft, that never has been a ghetto thing. It's been a Korean thing. Because in Korea, after every kind of word you say to be respectful, you have the Yo sound, which is where it kind of comes in.
Ah, there you go. Your Korean lessons as provided by Mr. Diapollo. We've got the command center coming down right here for Slayer's Boxer, who has not decided to take any gas. Nice little gasless expand right there. And Todd, on the other hand, not revealing too much as of yet. He's got his gateway down at the appropriate time. Immediate chrono boost into the cybernetics core. And this is always interesting. We should always keep an eye on how many chrono boosts are used. But he is going to go for the expand. There won't be any kind of gating nonsense here.
Yeah, he's pulled out a gas after 100, and so that's basically the Warp Gate Research 50 and a Stalker 50 equals 100, and he's out of gas, and he goes back in afterwards. So a nice economic focused build from Todd. Todd has a lot of variety in his style. Can be very, very aggressive, also can be very passive, as demonstrated in DreamHack, where Day9 did have that incredibly long series against Happy and Todd. But we do see Slayer's Boxer taking a decently timed first refinery, which was after that initial barracks expansion, then refinery, which means that he just wants to get stim pretty early on. If he doesn't get stim early on, it will be for Marauders, but overall he just wants to upgrade faster than you would do regularly.
Always a good idea against a player like Todd, who does not mess around. Single Marauder coming out and actually going straight into Concussive Shell initially. I love this. I think it's an absolutely fantastic idea. It's so quick to get Concussive Shell, and against any kind of Protoss unit, a Marauder is useful one way or the other. It's useful against an early Zealot, as long as that Zealot doesn't have charge, because you can kite, especially if you're skilled enough to do so against multiple targets. It's great against Stalkers, and combined with a bunker, you have a very solid early game defense.
And unfortunately for Todd, he hasn't scouted anything. When he did try to scout, it was pushed away by Marines on the natural. So he has to throw down a robotics facility really, really early. But on that Xel'Naga tower on the left, which the probe was on, did see Marauders. So he's going to be feeling okay. I wouldn't even be surprised to see a Immortal get pushed out really early here, as that is so good against defending against Marauder pushes, even at this stage. He does throw down another gateway just in anticipation for this coming pressure.
Yeah, but it's not a huge amount of pressure, but he's not going up against a huge amount of units either. There are 3 sentries. He can wall this ramp off, but it is tricky to do so. This is very, very wide indeed, and that's going to be difficult to do. We've got the SCV now moving up the top just to get a little bit of scouting information. He wants to know what he's up against. It's only a single Zealot at the moment. Warp Gate has now completed. Warp Prism on the way up as well. Additional sentry now warped in, and Boxer decides to head for home, having scouted that and deciding this is not a good idea.
Yeah, and Todd realizes, the timing of it, that if he had have invested into Immortal, it's 250 minerals. That's quite a lot. So he's like, all right, I'm going to be fine with just these force fields. And he decides, all right, well, this probably is going to be fake, so I'm just going to build that Warp Prism. And like I said, the variety from Todd always comes out shining, and he's going to be starting to harass with this Warp Prism. We'll see to what extent. Probably just sentries and then trying to, block in SCVs and do a lot of damage, but he has to be careful not to get spotted by any units around the map, which, very smartly, Boxer, these units are pretty much doing nothing in this game. Why not look around for pylons?
Yeah, of course. You can never trust the Protoss on Tal'Darim Altar. This is that one map where they feel completely uninhibited to be even more annoying than usual. Pylons will go down everywhere. This is known as a 4-gate map. Obviously, we're past that point, but it doesn't matter because you can still dump pylons in the most awkward spots, especially once you get observers out. You can warp into the main. You can do all sorts of irritating things. Boxer, we've got a reactor coming down right next to a starport, so the swap over is almost guaranteed. Stim is on the way and almost complete, and +1 weapon as well as combat shield being thrown into the mix as well. Mostly focusing on Marines at the moment, not throwing too many Marauders in.
Yeah, that's good, to be honest. You don't want to have... The kind of ratio is always about 70-30, maybe 80-20 in favor for Marines, because Marines are the real DPS. Marauders are just there to slow things down. So, and the sentries do come into the back now, and we'll be landing some awesome force fields here.
Oh, very pretty. Yes, you aren't going anywhere, son. Absolutely not. And some great little bits of harassment right here from Todd. Unfortunately, those 2 Zealots won't be able to do too much. There are units now moving back, but this has denied an immense amount of mining time, and he's going to be able to get away as well. He's going to lose 2 Zealots, and you want to know how many workers he killed? 9. What a great start.
Yeah, really, really good harassment there by Todd, and that's a brilliant start in this game, and now he's really turned things in his favor. He's also going double forge, throws down a Templar Archives really early here, so this is nice to see from Todd, and that's going to be so difficult for the standard style of play that Boxer is going for. He's just going for his +1, his medivacs probably start to push out as they come out, but he has nothing to deal with Ghost. He's not expecting... nothing to do with Archon, sorry. He's not expecting that this early. And there is a double medivac drop here, which I think was picked up by the Observer. I'm not 100% certain because I wasn't looking, but
I'm almost certain
see.
it was. Yeah, I think we did see that, so I can imagine that he's going to be able to react to this fairly rapidly. We'll have a look in his base. Yes, he's moving his defenses back. He should be absolutely fine there. +1/+1 also about to kick in, which will give him a little bit of an edge. Couple of extra barracks on the way up. The scouting factory coming in from the north as well, just in case he's not able to glean the information he requires there. And here it comes.
He's going to feed back the medivacs and then jump on top of them. He's just waiting for the right opportunity, and I'm surprised that Todd pulls everything to the front, and he's not going to be able to pull that off. That is interesting.
That was a bit of an error, to say the least, and misses out on the opportunities to do huge damage to those medivacs, and all of the tech is now being revealed. Boxer sees everything. He knows about the Templar Archives. He can suspect what's coming in, especially seeing the Twilight Council actually researching. He will realize that Zealot Archon is what's coming in now.
And another double medivac drop to the natural. Really awesome play here by Slayer's Boxer himself. He's going to get a lot of probe kills here. And now Todd is in a bunch of trouble. He's going to be able to feed back the medivacs once again. But to what extent? The sentries are just getting destroyed.
Oh, wow. A bit of a bit of positioning right there from Todd, honestly, allowing Boxer to focus those sentries down. Even if he loses the drop, he's killed so much gas worth of units, and he even remains just with a little bit of micro just till the last. He sees an Archon moving in, and he's almost equaled up the number of workers killed there, which is really great for him. If we look at resources lost, Todd's taken a lot of punishment. He really has. He's lost a lot of gas in that, and Slayer's Boxer has not.
And I don't think we're going to be seeing too much of a long game here by Slayer's Boxer. He threw down 2 extra barracks, who's at a total of 5. He's also got the Ghost Academy and 3 ghosts coming out at a time. He will still want to expand, of course, but he's going to be going for an incredibly strong push with 2 plus 2 attack and plus 1 armor. And with the ghosts at decent energy, I really can't see Todd's army doing that well, especially if the EMPs hit. So this is going to be a very strong push, and Slayer's Boxer playing an incredibly strong style, slowing the Protoss down, and then going in for a hammer blow. And this is going to be difficult, but we'll see as he starts to move out across the map. Observer does see it everything, though, for Todd.
Well, Todd's got 3 observers, which is nice. Protoss used to be really, really miserly, with their observers. They'd only ever build 1, but there was a little change that allowed them to come out slightly cheaper, and you see sometimes 3, maybe even 4, which gives wonderful amounts of visibility to the Protoss player. Running across the map here, possibly looking for a timing with the completion of +2. +1 armor is about to kick in, and this will hit just before the +2 of Todd as well, since he's not chrono boosting these forges at the moment. We'll see. This is a long run across this map, so I don't know if that's really going to come into effect. But as you said, it's a powerful push, lots of Marines, and he's also got, and hold that thought, we've actually got a Zealot Warp in coming in, but the Warp Prism just got shut down completely, and these Zealots are going to be cut to pieces very rapidly indeed, so not a lot of damage done there by Todd at all.
Yeah, not too much damage done. More importantly, as you said, there was just a few SCVs killed in the top left, but nothing huge. And now we are going to see this humongous push from Boxer. And look at that Marine count. It's so heavy Marines. And if he lands the snipes, and goodbye, High Templar. Goodbye, sir.
Yeah,
this is going to be pretty scary. Todd does have a lot of Zealots, though. And it's going to be difficult to EMP them all. So if the Zealots do get in there, they will do a lot of damage. But this is, like I said, a very scary push for Todd. He has to hold on.
Yeah, I love the use of the factory as well to give some fantastic information here, and also potentially to clump up these units. And Todd spreading out, he knows what's coming. Oh, nice feedback. 2 ghosts picked off, an immediate merger to Archon. Todd with a nice little counter to what could have potentially been a disastrous set of EMPs. And now Boxer going for it anyway. Oh, and split in half right there by those force fields. And goodbye to most of those Marines there. Some damage to the chargeless, but those are tough buggers. And +2/+2 for both sides there. A Colossus now on the field. It does not, I believe, actually have range upgrade. I'm fairly sure it doesn't, but it is enough support to scatter Boxer's forces.
Yeah, Boxer's timing wasn't really a timing, man, because it wasn't hit as those upgrades finish, and the Colossus comes out as the gases were taken on the right-hand side, as well as a little run of Marines, but they get shot down immediately by Zealots, and all of a sudden, Todd's like, what's up, and charges through the center of the map with the Colossus added in there. There's nothing to do with the Colossus, and I mean nothing. There's not even a single Viking. It's mostly Marine Ghost. And that's pretty bad because they're going to get sliced and diced and eaten alive by these Colossus as they come sprinting towards the natural. And I'm very scared for Imuon right now, Slayer's Boxer.
I am absolutely terrified for him. He's not going to be able to repulse this as far as I'm concerned. 173 supply to 92. It's just not going to happen. He doesn't have what he needs. It will require some kind of miracle. If anyone can pull it off, it's going to be Boxer, but the EMP is good. It's very good. And Boxer now going for it. A lack of range upgrade is hurting the Colossus, but really it doesn't matter. A brave defense, but there's the good game coming in for Boxer, and Todd takes the first game in his best of 3 series, continuing his successful run against the Emperor.
Indeed, and Todd really displaying why he managed to get into this tournament, first of all, and why people are hyping him as a very solid player. But the thing is, what really confused me with Boxer's play is the upgrades finished. Everything was finished, the ghosts are ready at the 15-minute mark. By the time Boxer actually went in, it was like 17 minutes. There's a big 2-minute gap there, and that allowed that 2-minute cycle. So many more units for Todd, and unfortunately that 2-minute gap really provided Todd the time to build up an amount of units. But on the other side of that coin, you can say that Todd had a good defense, holding Boxer back with force fields, and unfortunately that wasn't hit. His strategy didn't work.
No, it certainly did not. Todd shut it down very effectively, a stalwart defense, and even taking a lot of EMPs, at least in that final engagement. By that point, it just didn't matter. Reinforcements could have come in. His economy was rolling strong. He was starting his fourth base. He'd taken and secured and saturated his third with a big economic lead. So even, losing chargelets in the current metagame is not really all that important. You get a lot of gates, and you just warp in another round of chargelets. It's not difficult to do. It's very easy to acquire what you need, and this unit seems to be the bane of Terran right now. It really does.
It really does, Total Biscuit. And we can't take credit away from Todd also for slowing Boxer down with the Warp Prism as well. It was a nice play.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Really well executed. Let's see if he can do it again. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll find out the answer to that question. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Iron Squid Group A broadcast, and it's my pleasure to bring you Slayer's Boxer, currently trailing 1-0. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Terran to the west of this, the Antigua Shipyard, versus his opponent, and the French are cheering for him right now, I can guarantee it. It is Fnatic's Todd. He is in the blue trunks, playing Protoss to the east.
And the really good map choice. I was thinking about a couple of things that I wanted to start with, but I'll say all of them at once. Is beautiful map choice by Slayer's Boxer here, Antigua Shipyard. And the reason why it's a beautiful choice is, where did Boxer do really well in that previous game? It was with the quadruple Medivac drop, so two and two at different locations.
Yep.
That same strategy can be deployed again here, but with better effect. So we'll see, because it is harder to defend on this map because the up and down ramp between the main and the natural compared to Tal'Darim is harder for Protoss to run around. So if he does do something aggressive, this is certainly the map for it. And the problem with Protoss is, because you have to split so well, you have to split your army up, but the problem is you don't know what's inside the Medivacs, so it actually becomes harder to split up depending what's in. If it's Marauder heavy, you want more Zealots in there. If it's Marine heavy, you want more Stalkers. So I'm sure Boxer will want to try something like that, especially with the success he had in game number 1.
I think you are absolutely correct in that regard, and he can't let Todd go unmolested. Todd seemed weakest to those drops. His drop defense was honestly quite poor. In comparison to his defense on the ramp, which was nothing short of exceptional, he was slow in reacting to it, he did not nail the feedbacks, and bear in mind that the quicker you nail the feedbacks, the better. It wasn't going to kill the Medivacs. The Medivacs didn't have enough energy to actually detonate off that, but the earlier you do it, the better, because they have less energy once they start healing, so the feedbacks become less and less effective, and he could have potentially torn them out of the sky a lot faster than that. He could have intercepted the drop. That's what really got me. He was towards the back of his base. We thought he saw it with the Observer. Maybe he didn't. And he then moves to try and build, and whoa, this is interesting, the barracks going down at the bottom here, but instantly scouted there by Todd, so if he was trying to hide something, it's not going to be all that effective at this point. But as I said, we thought that he was going to stay there, and he rolled up to his natural instead to defend against the drop that actually didn't arrive there.
And I think Todd's gonna be aggressive here with not a usual play. Look at the pylon placement in the bottom left of his main base.
Yeah.
He skipped a Zealot and thrown down a second gas really early here. But as you said, there's 2 barracks. This could end incredibly fast if Todd tries to tech up, because he won't have the units necessary. And there's also a pylon being thrown down at the 6 o'clock position. Are we going to see potentially DTs come from Todd? This could be incredible, but will it work though? That is the question.
It's very sneaky, and there's no question about that, and I'm sure that Boxer did not want that barracks to be scouted so early, but as you've pointed out, teching would be pretty much suicide. This gives Boxer the ability to hit very early, very hard indeed, especially with Concussive Shell. Marine and Marauder, early push to do extensive damage, 2 more gateways placed down, and this pylon right here, designed to allow a warp in at the bottom, which bypasses a lot of the rush distance on this map. It looks like we're probably not going to see Dark Templar. You never know, it's a possibility. A lot of Chrono Boost being spent into this Cybernetics core. Is the response to this 2 racks a 3-gate pressure attack?
Absolutely, nailed him 1, because it is. He saw it and was like, oh, I was going to go and tech up, but I'd probably die. So he actually just has 2 in each assimilator in the main base, which basically has the same effectiveness as 3 and 1. It just kind of the same, but a little bit better. And now he's just gone and added on the extra gateways in anticipation for this push, and will have enough units to defend it. So really nice play there from Todd, adapting to what he saw. But imagine if he didn't see that second barracks, that would have been one fast game.
Disastrous. Yeah, no doubt about that. And Todd with a great position of the sentries there. Boxer is not suicidal. He knows that this is not going to happen now. He pokes up there. It's like, well, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, that was scouted. Now, the question is, has he managed to find the pylon yet? The short answer is no, he has not. So this could be nasty a little bit later on.
Yeah, this actually could be flip side. You know, Todd's got a lot of units out. He has Chrono Boost saved up. He could very easily throw down Chrono Boost into gateways and just start warping on that south pylon and take a bit of a gamble and try to be aggressive. But Todd is a very safe player as well. Always wants to play for the win and drag the game out as much as possible, because that's where he believes he's a stronger player as the game goes on, and really does want to go skill for skill. So he's just going to go ahead and not try anything of a gamble, throws down the robotics facility and an extra gateway. Meanwhile, it looks like Boxer, what is Boxer up to? He now has got that third barracks down, is mining from gas, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that factory or engineering bay go down, depending on if he wants faster medivacs or a faster +1 upgrade. But pretty standard now, but it could have been a very non-standard game, as we said.
Oh yeah, it could have flipped the switch into crazy mode, and Boxer's still scouting. He is suspicious. I don't blame him. He hasn't found that pylon yet. It hasn't come into effect yet either, so that's perhaps not so much of an issue, but we see the rollout here, and the Warp Prism. The Warp Prism could come over and actually start to drop in while aggression is applied to the natural ramp here. And he can then alternate where he warps into. If he feels he can do good damage to the main, he can spend a warp in on his Warp Prism. Or he can warp in from the pylon at the front if he requires his reinforcement. The Warp Prism is already on its way, and Todd is going to wait for it before starting to poke at that ramp.
Yeah, this is really nice play, and we'll see which way he goes. He may poke at the front and then drop in the main, but Boxer's already covered his back with supply depots, so that's pretty good from Boxer there. And he has chosen to go for the factory over the engineering bay, so it is a safer option, but it's not a long-term better option because the upgrade would have been better faster. But he's going to have medivacs out really, really fast, so that could actually be a lot of trouble for Todd if this doesn't work. And there's the Warp Prism, man.
Yep, it's a 4-sentry attack once again in the same manner, and he doesn't catch as many. He actually did not do that well at all. So some damage has been inflicted, but I think he only got a couple of SCVs there. So Boxer is not going to be fooled twice, gives him the slip, and this is the problem. Now with these forces split up, Boxer goes for a counter push, and I don't think, honestly, that Todd's got what he needs to stop this.
Yeah, and Todd's going to back up. He's going to have to spend a lot of money on bringing in units. He's just thrown down Double Forge, but no way can he afford to upgrade from
Absolutely
the Forge right
not.
now.
He's doing it anyway.
He's taking a risk, really big risk to do so. I mean, he's going to rely on very little units to hold this off. I would definitely not have done that. And he's under pressure, and especially with medivacs that are about to come out very shortly. We'll see how this goes down. 3 force fields down, but after that, there's no force fields left. Will Boxer pursue this?
Well, the thing is that these 4 sentries got evacuated, and that one's got full energy, so he can hold this off. I think he, as you said, took a big risk here, but this is now to the point where Boxer doesn't really want to attack. There are too many force fields, and he's realized that. He's now going to pull back, and of course the next stage would be for him to get a sufficient medevac count out to start dropping and doing damage. So Todd took a gamble, but thankfully, as a result of getting those sentries out with the Warp Prism, it did pay off. And he's going to start to gain an upgrade advantage over his opponent very shortly, and has an economic lead as well.
Yeah, I completely forgot about the Warp Prism and 4 sentries, and then they came down and I'm like, oh no, he's fine. You can upgrade, that's fine.
Yep.
But now he's walking through the middle, doesn't have map control, Boxer's gonna jump on him!
Oh no! Well, there we go, we just gave away his advantage completely. Nice bit of defensive force field play, but gives away a bunch of units for no real reason. And I don't know why he did that, because the Observer was moving into position, and he didn't wait for it. So he ran right into a very, very nasty spot, and Boxer punished him for it. Don't get cocky against the Emperor.
And the Warp Prism now is in its state of warping on the left, and like the state of trance. And it's going to be able to pick up units and go into the main very shortly. And the Observer now in position for Todd in the center, sees everything. And he does have +1/1. He's working on Zelt Charge again with the Templar Archives, which has gone unknown for Boxer. He doesn't have a Ghost Academy again. And there is the warping of units. But lucky, a factory's about to pick that up from the Warp Prism.
Always nice to have the infamous scouting factory give you some information, and he's just out of there. He's not mucking about. No way. He'll maybe lose one or two of those workers there. Quick pickup as Todd realizes that this isn't going to go well, and then a big crash straight into it, and he got in nice and close right there to unleash a torrent of firepower upon his opponent. Does he have what he needs to break his way through? These Marines are not upgraded. Todd has +1/+1. Here come the reinforcements. The force field's placed to try and split the force up. Not quite as effective as they need to be. Both sides taking significant losses here. The Stalkers now don't have a shield at the front to really buffer that, but a big warping might come in at just the right moment, and he pushes that force away.
And there was Zealots in the main as well, harassing here from Todd, so I can't believe he held that. I actually thought that was lights out, but he pulled just the right amount of probes, not losing too many, but just enough to hold on as he warped in additional units. So very good hold there by Todd. Upgrades did help out there, and he's now working on 2-2. And Boxer did escape with some units, but he didn't control them that well as he was distracted by the Warp Prism again by Todd. Very efficient use from this Warp Prism going in again.
Yeah, he's going to lose the Warp Prism, unfortunately, now, so it was efficient, but not anymore. Regardless, he does do significant damage there, and you might think, oh, losing a Warp Prism 2 Zealots, really bad. That's only actually 400 minerals, and if you're able to kill enough SCVs, then that's okay, that's totally worth it. You don't even have to kill 8 SCVs, because you're still taking away the idea that SCVs also generate revenue. So it's cool to just kill that many. So not a bad little position. Here comes the Ghost Academy coming down for Slayer's Boxer, and unfortunately, he just hasn't been able to effectively harass this game. And now we've got a third coming in for Todd as well. This is the kind of time when a Protoss is a little bit vulnerable, but will he be able to do any damage to Todd, more to the point?
Yeah, and I'm surprised that Boxer hasn't taken a third base. It's very late in the game, and he's going to continue with another wave, and he has to do damage, otherwise, he won't be able to keep up with Todd's economy. He does decide to throw down a third base now, but both players being very aggressive, very defensive, in different stances in the game, so it's naturally drawn out that third base a long time here, but what's the ghost count within this army? There's 0.
Yep.
So these Archons are going to be pretty damn scary, and the Zealots with charge, and about to have 2-2 as well. So once again, Boxer's pushing out near the completion of 2-1. But with 2-2 upgrades and the huge amount of Zealots that Todd has and the lack of Ghosts within the army, I feel Todd's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I don't think this is a good time, as you pointed out, to go forward. It's kind of an anti-timing, I suppose. You land right when that 2-2 is done, and when your opponent has Archons, which you evidently do not know about. He might find out about it. The infamous scouting factory is still there, so perhaps he picks that up, but at the moment he's not at the right angle. Thankfully, Boxer is waiting for a couple of these ghosts to actually be added into the mix here, leaving a few units in the center for whatever reason, and there's no harassment coming in from Todd anymore. Doesn't have a Warp Prism on the field, only a single Archon as well, and a very small number of these Templar as well, but they're going to come in and do some damage regardless. Might land a feedback. The rocks at the back of the third have been taken out, but it just looks quite similar to the previous game. There's 2 Colossi, double Colossus coming out, one after another here, and this could still get messy for Boxer.
Yeah, it could. I mean, he has to land these EMPs, but even if he does, well, actually, if he snipes the third base and gets out with everything, this could be huge for Boxer.
That would be amazing. Yeah, and he's got it. There's no problem with that at all. And honestly, he's moving in now to try and prevent the escape, but I have to wonder if he's going to be able to do that. Supply block kicks into effect for Todd, and he actually hasn't done anything about it. He is mega supply blocked. He lost a lot of pylons there, and that is causing him huge issues and allowing Slayer's Boxer to gain a much larger army.
Yeah, Slayer's Boxer should go back now, sit comfortable on his 3 bases, build up that Viking count, ready to actually take an engagement against Colossus. There's only 1 Viking out right now, so if he tries to pursue this little push and little advantage he has, he could lose the advantage.
Potentially.
Even though he has a decent amount of ghosts, he's at a current 7 ghosts within that army. Yes, they will EMP everything, but the Colossus count is at 2, and Thermal's not yet done, but it is at 2-2 upgrade, so they will do a lot of damage. And how many starports does Mr. Boxer have? He just has the single one and a second one coming, so definitely wants to build that Viking count up.
That's Sir Boxer to you, quite frankly. We've got the third base coming down once again, just to replenish that. But it was a really good strike there by Boxer, and now the size of this bio ball is really scary, honestly. +3 firepower coming in for those Terran infantry units. Plenty of medevacs in the air. Viking count is starting to rise. We had a Zealot pop in and do a little bit of harassment right there. Actually quite a significant amount in total. Todd's killed 16 workers in total. Finally, that pylon's been scouted and eliminated. But there weren't all that many workers killed there to the back, and it should be easy enough to replenish, especially with mules in the mix. But still, an economic advantage for Todd now that this third base is almost re-secured. But he is heavily oversaturated on his natural as a result of losing that, and that's going to cause him a few problems later on in the game as he tries to take a fourth, because Boxer has no intention of allowing that to happen.
Wow, Boxer throws down 4 more barracks. He really doesn't have that good of an economy. He's at 50 SCVs, his main base is mined out, and soon is natural. So he's investing for the late game, but doesn't really have that much to support it later on, and definitely wants to control the center of the map. But in the position he's in, with the army position on the Zelnog Tower, he is very, very comfortable to take a fight. His army is very strong. His economic side of things may not be, but the problem is for Todd, how does he take a good fight here? Does he have Storm? I think he's got Storm research by now. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have Storm. So the Colossus, as soon as the Colossus go down, that's it. The army of Boxer will rain havoc.
Yes, it will. That's a lot of chargeless that he's got in there, and he's going to have +3/+3, and he's now working on +1 shield as well. Not so effective, of course, as the result of Ghosts, but good to have for the sake of your resilience anyway. But this is a hardy army, but as you said, I don't know. I mean, it does have a lot of area of effect damage. It's so hard to say, isn't it? It's like, do you really need Archon, Storm, and Colossus to engage against a force like this from Slayer's Boxer?
I have a feeling he's going to need it, man, because once the Colossus die, and they will die fast, there are 13 Vikings out with 4 more in production, 17 in total in just a few seconds' time. They will be one-shotting Colossus. And then the Marines, how do you kill the Marines? That's going to be the problem. So we'll see for Todd. He has to. I'm surprised he hasn't got Storm in this game, because it's definitely needed. Now Boxer's building even more Ghosts. He's got a new command center ready to take the center of the map. And he also has position, because he controls the center. He has factories on the left. He has a Marine on the right. And he's going to move in now. Spread so thin.
Yep, here comes that engagement. A good Colossus shot goes off there, but the Colossus will, of course, fall from the Vikings. +2 not completed, but it doesn't really matter. Look at the number right there. What a perfect position for Boxer to engage in. Absolutely fantastic. He funnels those Zealots into a narrow pass. Feedback's going off on all sides, but Todd actually manages to break through with simple brute force, and it turns out that that army was simply not quite enough.
Yeah, not quite enough, and Todd does manage to pull back, but the reinforcements coming from Boxer, 7 Marauders and 6 Marines. The reinforcements should be enough, and not even the reinforcements, the leftover units with landed Vikings seem to be enough here for Boxer, but all the Colossus have gone. There's still no Storm being researched.
Yeah,
what does he do now? Like, it's so difficult.
He's building more Colossus, which is a fairly bad idea. He's going up against, there's still 10 Vikings with +2. Trying to out-Colossus that number of Vikings at the moment seems suicidal. This is the kind of time when you go for a transition, but what do you do if you don't have Storm? Now, it might sound like an overused term, but if you look at the way the game is flowing at the moment, that could have been what I would describe as a blunder by Todd. Right now, we've got the command center coming down, and it's been spotted immediately there by a Zealot, so no real problems there for Todd in terms of his scouting, but that's going to be a planetary fortress, so it will not fall, as you can see there. Just having a look quickly at the composition of this force by Boxer, just using the same comp as before, and one can hardly blame him. He's also working on the Mobius reactor for his Ghosts. There we go, Zealot picked up quite easily. And the pylon sure to follow, so no more harassment coming in from that. Honestly, Apollo, at this stage, I've got to say, Todd is in a really horrible spot.
Yeah, he's in such a terrible position, and like we said, I feel that once the Ghosts land their EMPs and the Vikings clear the Colossus, what really is left for Todd? And like I said earlier, I'm so surprised he doesn't have Storm, because Storm would have been very efficient if he could land those necessary Storms.
You know what I love is the fact that earlier we said, it's interesting that he's making that many production facilities, but you could see the plan of Boxer unfurling over the course of this game, knowing that in a fight up against an AoE heavy Protoss, you are going to take casualties, a lot of casualties. but if he's able to reinforce at a rapid rate, then how wonderful is that? A quick morph to Archon really isn't going to help him at all. That Archon is going to die immediately, but what choice did he honestly have? Once again, the lack of Storm is hurting him so badly. Zealots come in and just get torn apart by those heavily upgraded infantry units, and in the meantime, the big red blob of doom is coming across the center of the map, and I don't think Todd could stop this one.
Say goodbye to the Colossus, Total Biscuit.
Goodbye, Colossus. We hardly knew ye. Oh my god. If I played Protoss, I would be crying right now to see that kind of loss. And you know what? I'm thankful I don't. GG. Todd concedes. Boxer with an economic powerhouse. Surprisingly, considering he did all of that on around 51 SCVs.
Yeah, so low in SCVs, and the harassment from Todd really did mess up Boxer, because when you are going unharassed and you're just doing your own thing, you play so smoothly. But that one warp prism that was, amongst the early to mid stage of that game just really mess with Boxer's head, and it showed in the end result of the SCV count being so low. But at the end of the day, missing Storm, crucial upgrade from Todd. And once the Vikings get to that point where they are one-shotting Colossus become not an option to deal with the Bio-Ball.
No, they don't. And the obvious transition simply wasn't there. When that happens to you, you generally transition into Storm. That's usually the best way to deal with it, because then the Vikings have become effectively useless. They are dead supply, as I like to call it. And you try and max yourself back up to 200 again, and if your opponent's got a bunch of Vikings, and he also has a 200 army, then his army is inherently weaker. But that option wasn't there, because for some reason, and I'm going to go check this right now, I'm going to go look for his Templar archives, there we go, and I believe it looks like it did actually research Storm, or maybe it's just not appearing. In fact, no, it's actually not appearing on the display for whatever reason, but I'm almost convinced that there was no Storm. I mean, if he had Storm, then he was very, very late in deploying it. Too late, in fact. And as a result, the game was conceded. But very well played there by Boxer. He obviously knew what he was doing when he built those. A total of 9 racks, I might add, as well as 2 starports. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he executed it flawlessly.
Absolutely. But Todd did win the first game, and he's going to be able to lose the second game, of course, but more importantly, he gets the map choice for the final map that we will be going to, and I'm sure that he's going to choose a nice and friendly Protoss map.
I have no doubt. We will find out what that map is after this short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, you just don't have bad series in this tournament. That's very, very clear to see. And we've got yet another down-to-the-wire best-of-3 between the mighty and legendary Slayers Boxer. He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Terran to the east of this. The Terminus versus his opponent. It is Fanatics Todd. He is in the blue trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the north.
And it's not... Actually, looking at the version of the map, it's an older version, and it's not the best Protoss map, but it's okay within this matchup. I think Protoss players, well, the few we have, may QQ a little bit when it does come around to playing against Zerg, because the rocks are there on the third base, which means it's very difficult to hold, and more importantly, there's not a second gas there, and there's only a few mineral patches, so even though you get this third base, it is also harder to defend, and then you don't get that significant gain from it. But in this matchup, it won't be that much of a difference, and I expect a full-blown, it's Terminus, we're going to see a macro game. Let's see who pulls out in the longer stages of the game, because both players made their respective mistakes. Lack of Storm, not the best economy Boxer could have had for that stage either.
Yeah, and Boxer was able to overcome quite significantly, but something as glaring as lack of Storm is something I don't think we can expect to see again from Todd. Todd's not the kind of player to make the same mistake twice. He will get that transition down, and he must, because if Boxer pulls the same thing again, where... I think Boxer, that build from Boxer was just so precise. You think that's a really low amount of SCVs, but with that number of orbital commands, he's thought this through. He built the right number of barracks for the occasion. And what do we see right here? Well, it is Terminus, and that is a Nexus first from Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. Good build. I mean, it's the final map. Not really going to see any aggression in terms of cheese or really super aggressively because it's a risk. And at this stage, you don't want to take that risk because if you guess wrong where your opponent is, maybe you have a hidden barracks in the wrong position or something along those lines. So good choice here by Todd. And just thinking about his overall strategy last game, he decided to go double Colossus, and I think that his plan wasn't ever to get Storm, and it was just to go, alright, I'm going to spend all my gas in double Colossus, and then we're going to try and end it. But Boxer was equal to the task in terms of Viking production, and that was clearly shown. And Todd has to throw down double gateways behind this, just to make sure he is safe by taking this risk of having no early units out whatsoever.
Yeah, it's absolutely standard. If you put Nexus first down, then don't put down double gateways. You are the craziest suicidal man in the world. It is not a very good idea, and catching up with the count that you have otherwise missed is vitally important. The Cybernetics core falls immediately after the gateway as well. Todd well on top of things, and of course, absolutely perfect in his execution thus far.
And upon seeing a command center down relatively early as well, he does decide to spend the Chrono Boost wisely into the Nexus, knowing that he doesn't need to rush units out. He still will try to be proactive with units as they come out. For example, the Stalkers, he's actually looking to skip a Zealot completely, knowing that I don't need units early on. This guy's gone for a command center early as well. And so I expect him just to go for double Stalkers, may actually Chrono Boost them out as well, so he can start to kind of scout with them, more importantly, check the unit count, bunkers, and so on, and see when units start to come out. And there's a Chrono Boost been spent into one gateway, and we'll see if he gets enough money for the second one, if you spend another one there. And let's have a look. Guess not.
Nope, he's not going to decide to do that as of yet. Tech Lab on the way down for... I want to know the Slayer's Boxer over here just to try and get some Marauders into the mix, and of course to start working on an upgrade. We don't really know which one just yet, but it will determine what he decides to do. He may go for a very early upgrade, start to poke and prod. He may go for something longer, and it will be Concussive Shell here. A nice safe option, I feel. A very good utility upgrade.
Yeah, and he can push out just with a little bit of pressure. Check the Xel'Naga Towers, maybe catch a few units off. So good decision there by Boxer. And it looks like Todd's gone for 3 gateways in total, making 3 sentries now. Just has the one proactive Stalker, and is going to move towards the natural area of Boxer. Going to do a little bit of damage to the Marines, and this is a good count of units that he sees. He now also scouts the Marauder, which is fine as well, because now he knows that gas has been taken and not a considerable amount of barracks have been thrown down, that you'd have to deal with only Marine pressure, and he's happy enough to expand while he's getting the sentry count up.
Yep, and oh, that's a little bit messy. Oh, Concussive Shell finished at the wrong moment. Wow, it finished a fraction of a second after that shell landed, and as a result, that Stalker escapes and is able to take out an SCV in the process. So, not ideal, honestly. Not an ideal start for Boxer there. Todd got very lucky, but here comes the pressure here from Boxer. Would love to take a pylon out, but has to be very cautious about being cut in half by those force fields.
Boxer got scared and he's turned back. He could have done so much damage there.
Yeah,
3 sentries and a Stalker and only 3 gateways, so he only would have walked in a few units. He obviously didn't want to get caught by all those sentries. He saw 3 sentries, didn't want to get caught, and just moved back. But that's hurt him a little bit just because he doesn't know what the hell is going on. He's playing pretty standard. He's gone for his factory now as well, taking the 3rd gas on the natural. So we'll just play straight up, but it looks like Todd throwing down 5 gateways, 3 are just finishing up now, an extra 2. That's going to throw him up at 8 gateways really early. He's going to have a lot of pressure on the map. If any push does come from Boxer, he could just get caught off guard and lose everything.
Yeah, he could, and that pylon did not get scouted, which is very unfortunate there, and it could turn into a nasty situation for Slayer's Boxer. He does have 3 bunkers coming down, so I think he smells something is potentially afoot. He has no way of knowing that. He has no scouting information, but he smells that something is cooking, and he is correct. He's going to need all 3 bunkers, and even then, holding against 8 gateways worth of pressure, that is a tall order for anybody.
Indeed it is, and it's a good timing for Boxer to throw down those those bunkers, sorry, is he knows that if anything was going to come, it roughly comes about 8 minutes, a little bit earlier, but he's going to poke out now, knowing that it's 9 minutes 15 seconds now. Is he really going to do something? But he is just hiding behind the bunkers, going to get the medivacs, and then start to push out and prod around. But Todd's got such a good economy. His income right now is 400 minerals more than Boxer. And he's got double forges too, but in comes this pressure, and this is going to do a lot of damage. Look at all those force fields.
Oh, the force fields are good right now to prevent the repairs. That's the priority of that. He's taking a lot of damage, and the Zealot wall is kind of collapsing here with good fire from those Marauders onto the Stalkers. Most of the firepower is eliminated, but here's the next warp in. This is where things start to get unpleasant. So many SCVs have been pulled off the line to buffer damage here, and Boxer's going to be able to throw this back, and looks like he wants to punish this so very hard. Takes out a few extra units, tries to take out a couple of pylons as well. The amount of workers killed was 9, however, and a lot of mining time has been wasted. And you know what? Todd has no intention of letting up yet.
The income, as I stated before that, was about 300, 400 minerals difference. Now it's over 1,000 minerals difference. So incredible amount of money coming in for Todd. And there's no SCVs working on that naturally. He's got a terrible income rate. And Todd's now researching one wall, and he'll start the Twilight Council soon. And this very, very heavy gateway, lack of tech play from Todd, is working out excellently for him in this game. And Boxer really under pressure. There's not even a third command center being started to build yet. And now, even though Todd could continue to do harassment and pressure, he doesn't need to because medivacs are out and could easily get counter-dropped in the main base and does want to return. And he doesn't need to stay there. He's got such an incredible income.
You know, the funny thing is we can trace what just happened over the last 5 minutes down to that one misstep by Boxer with the Stalker. It wasn't so much his mistake, it was just a really unlucky bit of anti-timing. That concussive shell, if that had finished just a fraction of a second earlier, that Stalker would have died. That means that he would have been much more confident going into the pressure onto that natural, and he would have realized just what was going on. He would have applied more pressure, he would have perhaps prevented what was coming in, and this has been a nasty cascade. However, he's by no means out of the game yet, is cleaning up all of these offensive pylons, and is looking to try and get his forces back in order, but the difference, 16, now 17 workers difference, and the sheer amount of mining time that was lost by Boxer and was not lost by his opponent Todd.
And now he scans, he clicks the mineral field, and is like, oh god damn it, it's almost finished. And he threw down 2 extra barracks, the armory, an extra engineering bay, a ghost academy, throwing down everything, but not a third base. He has to build one now, otherwise he has to do damage and end the game.
Yep.
It's that simple. So Todd knows, now that scan's gone down, Box has seen everything. Todd's just in a brilliant defensive stance with so many gateway units, now working on 2-2. It looks like I'm watching Adele Scott rub off onto Todd with the sheer amount of gateway units, and
Pinky.
Todd throws down the robotics bay as well, and he's just going to sit happy. He has such a good economy, and Boxer has to do something in this game, and he's going to try a Doom drop, but Todd's already ready to accept this.
Well, we'll see. Todd's strength is not his drop defense, I've got to say, and he did not see this yet. He does have a lot of units in the main, however. I like this. Look at that. The factory placed down. He's actually going to take an engagement on the ramp, using the factory to prevent Zealot attack surface area. A nice little move. However, he's going to be completely surrounded. His army will get crushed here, and he may lose the game at this point if he doesn't do significant damage. From all sides, Boxer attempts to hold, but the medivacs ripped it out of the sky. I don't think he's got the firepower. He does not. 8 gateways is just too much. The army of Boxer gets crushed in the process, and even the brave scouting factory is going to go down.
Yeah, humongous risk taken there by Boxer. He knew he had to do something, and a lot of players would have just been like, oh, whatever, GG, but the Korean pride is really showing here from Boxer, who will not just GG and leave the game. He's going to try and continue to savor it, but it's going to be very difficult. Now as Colossus is coming into play, the lack of income from Boxer really showing, and once again, his main base is almost completed, while Todd's taking a 4th base on the left-hand side of the map and is in an amazing position. And we do have a medivac drop coming towards the main base of Todd, but once again, it's been spotted.
Yep, and Todd is using what I like to call the French style of dealing with drops, i.e. he is tired and he will wait until he is ready, good and ready to go for it, but Boxer turned around anyway, so it doesn't matter. He's decided this is not a good idea, and he would have just lost yet another medevac's worth of units, so it's a good choice not to go in there, especially with Blink on the way, and that's going to make things even tougher for Boxer. How the hell do you harass when your opponent's got a lot of Blink Stalkers? It's very difficult to do. They can very easily intercept, and the obvious choice is to start bulking up that Ghost count. But what's the Viking count at, Apollo?
It's at nothing right now because he lost so many medivacs while dropping into Todd's base. He has to take the risk of like, all right, whatever, I need to build medivacs again because if I don't, my units are going to die anyway. So he's just building medivacs, and he already knows about the Colossus being there and coming out, but he has to build medivacs. It's as easy as that, and he has got a second starport. And actually, is that a second or a third one coming down? I know. Okay, so it's just coming down now. Sorry, but he will switch over. He was already upgrading for them as well. And Boxer has deployed some units on the ground, and they're going to chase all these probes. But it looks like Todd does have supply available to warp in, but that's the only pylon there. So he can actually get the entire Nexus.
Well, there's a mistake, isn't there? How the hell do you respond to that? The answer is you don't. There's no way he can get there in time to stop horrendous damage. These brave probes will be thrown into the battle. He's going to try to escape with as many as he can, which is not too many, I've got to say. And there we learn the risks of only having a single pylon at the front of your base, and Boxing just hang out here. He's just laid claim to it.
Yeah, Boxer's not playing that well. He's supply boxed at 153 as well, and has been for a while, and still not building supply depots.
Oh, never mind. He actually did have another pylon at the back right there.
Oh, he did. Oh, he managed to build one eventually, and he's going to clear this out, and Stalkers are going to pick off the medivac, and Boxer calling down supply depots as well, too, now inside his main base from the energy, and realizing he's not playing very well. So, you know, that doesn't even help him that much as he goes to supply block at 161 anyway. And Todd is 200 supply, a really nice army, researching Storm now as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if Todd sat in the middle of the map and said, try take a fourth base, you're going to mine out eventually, and we'll just suffocate Slayer's Boxer. And Boxer has to try and move out. He has to crush this army, but it's so difficult.
With what? You know, harsh language? He doesn't have the means to do it, especially with these upgrades coming in. +3/+3 is about to kick in. Storm is there for the transition. This is perfectly set up. This is all the mistakes that were made in the previous game simply not happening this time around. Todd learns very easily within the best of 3, adapts perfectly, and is maxed out. His opponent is trying to get there, but it's not going to happen before this strike ends up happening, and oh my, there's even this drop force down at the bottom, which is not going to contribute to the defense either.
And Todd's going to move down to this third base now, and he's going to get free reign on this orbital command and probably one-shot it if he doesn't pick it up fast enough.
Yeah, the Blink Stalkers come in to intercept the Vikings, and thankfully Slayer's Box are able to quickly get out of there, but there's no SCV leaving that line alive, I can tell you that for a fact. Down it goes. The Sentry gets the wonderful kill there, and no doubt we'll be celebrating that with its buddies, his little Sentry buddies in future. But this is what happens now. Boxer has got this big force. It's possibly not quite big enough, and Todd is in an awkward spot because he's having to now leave, but I think you just take a straight-up fight here, and he believes it as well. The EMPs land and do significant shield damage, but with those Colossus coming in and such a low Viking count, I have to wonder, he's now finally managed to bring them down, and a nice little move there by Boxer to slide past the Zealots, but it's not quite enough. Both of these guys are going to pretty much have their armies wiped out. The Vikings get into the mix and actually win the day, if you can believe that. But where does it go from here? The economy is firmly in the hands of Todd, and that allows him to reinforce that army much more rapidly.
Yeah, and Todd with a bit of a newbie Blink at the front there. None of the Zealots could get into the fight.
Yeah, that was weird.
Boxer does manage to, you know, fight that off, but the Bank of Todd is pretty strong. I mean, the Bank of Todd, the French established bank society.
Oui.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, and he's been able to build a lot of High Templar. They do have Storm this time around. The upgrades are pretty good as well for these units, so we'll see how this is going to go. Like, +3 armor, 1 shield, +3 attack, +2 shields on its way as well, and Boxer's really stretched for time.
Yeah, he is. He's certainly not out of it yet by any stretch. He's got the 4th and he's got a planetary fortress on that thing. He is saturating, but he's lost his 3rd. And anyway, there's not a lot to mine from the 3rd. There's the 1 gas geyser, and there's very few minerals. His natural is mined out, and there's 2 fully functional mining bases here for Todd. And he's mined out of his 3rd, as you can see. So 2 mining bases versus like 1.1 mining base. Awkward, certainly. And this comes down to how much damage can be done. Here comes a big drop right here from Boxer. If Boxer can deny these Nexus, he can get back into a fighting position. But the supply rockets once again for Todd, without question. A storm goes down, doing some damage. There's the pickup by Slayer's Boxer, and moves in onto this second Nexus. Can he bring it down and actually give himself an economic lead to edge back in here?
Yeah, if he manages to take this down, this will help, but the army of Todd is right behind him.
Now needs to evacuate immediately. There's actually no anti-air. If he picks up here, he can get the hell out. He forces a cancel. He may be able to evacuate this army. Zealots can't jump. It's as simple as that. There's the quick, and out he goes. And honestly, he didn't lose that much. But the problem now is he has perhaps forced his opponent into a situation where he's gonna go for it because he's lost all of his mining bases.
He can't build a Nexus. Well, he can eventually, but not right now. He's going to have to long-distance mine with these minerals and then try to plant one down.
If Boxer comes back from this will be absolutely incredible. And he's actually getting things back on top. The problem is he's about to lose his 4th base, and he really is not in a position to defend it. The Medivac stream back in, but already a large force of chargelets. What's the Viking count at? It is at 9, but there are 5 fully upgraded Colossus ready to stop that. If Boxer holds this, he will be able to get back in this game. But can he do it?
There's nothing to deal with the High Templar, though. Just 2 ghosts in production. They will come out very shortly, but Storms are just going to be so strong here, and I'm really feeling it for Boxer despite having a little bit of an advantage. The army supply is similar. Overall, though, the Storm will make a difference, and Boxer knows it. He's trying to get the ghosts out, even going to try and research personal cloaking, scans the army of Todd, sees that there's no observer with the army. Todd immediately replies with an observer in construction, realizing the threat that if ghosts just walk up to the army and EMP everything, Todd could very easily lose this series.
The income for Todd is now starting to get back on its feet through long-distance mining, if you can actually believe that. He's getting income from that. He has so many probes that this is actually working out for him. A long convoy, a train that never ends here for Todd from that. But Boxer's mining comfortably from that 4th. He really does need to try and take another base if he can. Still mining for 1. He's going to be mined out of that very rapidly with that number of mules. And this base is pretty much useless. He's got a group of SCVs trying to mine from the remaining minerals. But he is gaining slowly but surely that count of units back. Will it be enough, though? He's still up against a maxed out Death Ball from Todd that is very heavily upgraded.
If he can scan and then land the Vikings to pick off the Observer and get in with ghosts, that could be the sickest fight from Boxer.
It would be amazing if he can pull it off. The question is, can he do it? Personal Cloak is there. The Observer is in the army. Boxer is no doubt realizing exactly what you just said. Another Nexus is coming down. Boxer is kind of on borrowed time here. If he can't take another base, he will have to do significant damage because the probe count is so high that once Todd gets those bases back up, he's going to be right back there with a huge trust fund to easily replenish those units. Boxer knows it. He's going for it. The scan goes down. There are now 2 observers added. Really smart play there by Todd, but the scan will have detected both of them. He knows they're there. He now needs to take them out. Can he target fire down observers in the middle of Colossus?
Oh, these High Templar are British. Oh my god.
Wow, that was actually quite nicely done there by a Boxer. The storms weren't all that effective at all, and he picks off 2 High Templar quite nicely with a small group, and this is maneuvering from 2 of the best players in the world here. This is art, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate that art. A scan goes down, and right into a storm, another storm right there. Can he kill the observers? The observers are down. The observers are down. This is the time when Boxer must cloak, but he doesn't do it. The cloak isn't off, and the ghosts are at the front and get sliced to pieces. The ghost count is eliminated completely. The Colossus are down as well, though, and repositioning. I can't believe it. Boxer is back in it. He crushes the army.
He did it without even cloaking his ghost. He just landed all the EMPs instead, and I can't believe my eyes. Oh my god.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. 60 supply and falling rapidly. GG! Ladies and gentlemen, Slayer's Boxer with the most ridiculous comeback. Oh, what the hell just happened? Todd's brain must be as fried as ours right now.
Oh man, losing the 2 snipe Nexus on that side of the map and then not being able to rebuild one, taking the risk of building another Nexus in the center on the left as well. I can't believe we just saw that. That was an incredible last fight, sniping the observers. Even though the Ghost didn't even come into play, he landed so many brilliant EMPs. Storm rendered useless after those EMPs, everything to Archons, and he just had enough. And I cannot believe Boxer... He shouldn't have won that game. It's as simple as that. Todd had that game banked up and in the bag, and Slayer's Boxer pulls it around. Incredible.
I guess that's what being the Emperor allows you to do. The fact of the matter is that he held on. He did not give up. He saw weakness, and he realized, if I can kill those two Nexus... And I just loved the way that he got out of there as well. It was... really unfortunate for Todd. It's like, hey, chargelets are great, right? Yes, they are, but they can't shoot up. In fact, they can't shoot at all. So out it went. He evacuates back to the 4th as the inevitable counterattack comes in. Todd perhaps actually could have killed that 4th. He would have had to commit, but he could have killed it. And if he'd done that, I think that game would have gone in a very different way indeed. But, as it turns out, he didn't do it. He got a little bit cautious, a little bit gun-shy. Boxer rebuilds his force and crushes in the center. What an incredible engagement, and what an incredible series to round off the show for Iron Squid Group A. I'm gonna have to go and lie down after that.
The People's Champ, man. Just like when I was like 6 years old, he's in the ring, he's got his arm up. That's what I feel like when I watch the end of this game, man. He was there, the crowd was cheering for him to win that game as well. What an incredible fight there by Slayer's Boxer.
It is impossible not to root for Slayer's Boxer when he plays like that. It simply proves that experience is king, or indeed emperor, in this particular tournament. And people better watch out, because that's a great start for him. It really is. Todd looked like he was on fire. A very dangerous opponent. Slayer's Boxer slays him adequately. And awesome start for Boxer. Incredible stuff. And what a fantastic last map that was. Alright, the last thing that we need to do is talk about what's going to be going on the next show, Sunday's episode. We have not 1, not 2, but 3 high-quality best-of-3s from this group. So, Apollo, tell us, what are we going to be seeing first?
Wow, we're going to be having even more amazing players coming in. We're going to have Marine King Prime coming in as well. We'll be facing off against Todd, Boxer versus Rhett, and then Marine King Prime again versus Aegis Puma. Nothing but amazing games coming just this Sunday.
I can't repress my excitement. I am giddy like a schoolgirl at this point. That is incredible. What an amazing tournament we have for you. You guys hopefully enjoyed that particular broadcast. We certainly did. I'm psyched for the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Total Biscuit.
And I've been Diapollo.
You have been a wonderful audience. We will see you Sunday. Thank you once again to the organizers of Iron Squid. Please do go and check them out at ironsquid.tv. That is where you will find all the information about this amazing, incredible tournament. Good night.